Hi, it's time once again to take a look at what I colored for the month of, what month is this? Oh, August 2019. And I'll start with a few new purchases. I got this journal at Walmart for $5. I started recording my dreams once again. Been copying them from my Tumblr blog, and I used to write them down a long time ago, and I did a video where I featured my journals a while back. Well, this is my latest one. It's lined, and the pages are perforated, but that wasn't a selling point for me. It also has a ribbon in it, a placeholder, and you can see the date is 2013, so I'm a little backlogged. So I've been copying a couple down every evening. I also found this at Dollar Tree. Let's see if I can get that shine off there. Is that a little better? Maybe if I turn this just a little bit. Bring it up here. There we go. Yeah, I got this at Dollar Tree. This is a really nice book. The paper quality is very nice, thick paper. It's Body Ink Envy, a multi-level creative coloring book by Pap Leisure. And there's the back cover. I can't go wrong for $1, and it's a very nice coloring book. And there are other books by this publisher, and but I think this one is probably the nicest one, and it was a lucky find. And you know, speaking of the Dollar Tree, I also found this book at the Dollar Tree. Now, this is an old copy that I got from Amazon a couple years ago. But, yeah, if I'd known that Dollar Tree was going to have them, I would have waited rather than paying shipping, even though I got it from a third-party seller. The copies at Dollar Tree were really nice and looked brand new. This one was a used copy, and it had some flaws in it, where the printing smeared. You can see right there. Yeah, the copies at Dollar Tree were brand new and perfect condition. Anyhow, I did a page in this one. And I used Art 101 markers for the hair, and Pen Gear gel pens for the feathers and other details. And for the skin, I used eye makeup. I didn't use any pencils on this picture. And I also did this for Lavella's Coloring at Instagram and YouTube, called Color Your Hoard. And since this is a new book and I hadn't colored in it, I included it in the color along. See if you can see any of the shimmer on the feathers there. So like I said, this is a very nice find for $1. I'm going to enjoy coloring in it. And speaking of bargain books, I found this one at Barnes & Noble for $5.98. It's Color Me Jane, illustrated by Jackie Oakley. And I did two of the pages from the back that are perforated and can be taken out. Because these pages here are single-sided. The rest of the book is double-sided, as you can see. But it's really nice. It's nice illustrations, and it's a small book. And this is the first page I did. And I used, for this one, I used Prismacolor Scholars, Crayola Super Tips, Sharpies, and Tan Mint gel pens. And for this one, I used Sharpies and Crayola Super Tips, Cezanne colored pencils, and Pen Gear gel pens. Next, I did one in Art Deco Fashions by Mingju Sun. I hadn't colored in this one for a long time. And I've been going back every month and finding a few that I haven't colored in for a while and decided to color in them again. And this one I used Faber-Castell Classic colored pencils and some metallic marker a little bit, and Jumbo Juicy highlighters for the leaves. Next, I did one in Inklings by Tanya Bond. This is another book I hadn't colored in for a while. And I did this for a color along hosted by Gizmo Kids at Instagram. There we go. There she is. And the color along was hashtag Color Your Skin 2019. And the idea was to color a picture that featured a subject with skin. And this is the one I chose because, as you know, Tanya's images have a lot of skin to color, and coloring, I love to color people, but coloring skin is still a sticking point with me. I haven't mastered it yet, but you know, I'm getting there. And for this one, I used Arteza colored pencils, and the shades I used were Ivory, Yellow Ochre, Camel, and Coyote. And I also used Pelikan pencils for smaller details, especially on the dog here. What I like about those pencils is you can, you know, really sharpen them to a fine point, and they're good for coloring hair. And that's what I used on the dog. And I also used Crayola Super Tips and Apple Barrel paint for the background. And the rest was Arteza. And I used Crayola on her dress too, and shaded with pencil. I also finished a whip in the Pictora Medieval Times by Levi Pinfold. And there it is. And I used Crayola watercolors as a base, and then shaded with, what did I shade it with? I didn't write it down. I think it was Cezanne colored pencils. And I also did this for a color along on Instagram, Color Your Long Whip by Yulin K Art on Instagram. Hashtag long whip. And as you can see, because it folds out, this is the second panel I've completed. Now, one rule of thumb for doing these type of pictorials is to make sure that you know what you're coloring, because up here I thought it was coloring sky and it was actually a hill. So, you know, this top portion doesn't match. But other than that, you know, I can't complain. And this is the, I'm going to do these in order just so I don't make any future mistakes like that. This is the next one to be colored. And next one, I did one in Bells and Blossoms. I hadn't colored in this for quite a while too. There it is. See if I can get the camera up a little bit. I'm trying a new setup here. And this is one of those long arm tripod thingies that you hook on your desk. And it's a little floppy. So I'm going to try and get this raised up. Okay, on this one I used Prismacolor Scholars and Bics and Sharpies and Apple Barrel paint for the background yellow. Let's see if I can get a little closer here. All of this orange and red color around the top border, and the bottom border was done with the markers. And most of the leaves were done with pencil. And some of the flowers here and here were done with pencil, and the butt portion of her dress. And her skin, of course, was done with the Scholars. And the rest was markers and paint. Another book I hadn't colored in for a while is African Fashions by Diana Murray. There we go. And this one represents Somalia. And I use Cezanne pencils and Tan-Mit gel pens. And I created the floor myself. It was just blank, and I filled it in. This was a lot of fun. I did one in Zen Doodle Chubby Cherubs by Deborah Muller. This is another one I hadn't colored in for a while. see if you can see that a little better. Yeah. I'm having a hard time tonight with this setup. Alright, anyway, I got out my old Crayolas for this one, for the butterflies, and just added a little bit of white painter's pen for dots. And her dress and hair were done with Art 101 markers. And her skin was Art and Fly markers and shaded with a little bit of pencil. Her eyes were done with markers. And the butterflies were done with Crayola pencils, as was the background. I used the Lemon Glacier neon color for that. And the musical notes were done with black ink. And her flute was done with the Crayola metallic pencils. And I did, finally, for my completed pictures, I did one in Fantastic Beasts. And I used Staedtler and Reeves watercolors mostly. His skin and hair were done with Cezanne pencils. And finally, I'll show you the whip I'm working on. And The Witcher. There we go. This is what I've got done so far. And all this down here was done with Arteza watercolors and Staedtler watercolor pencils for the mountains. And the dark shading around the clouds, and the sky was done with Sevo Vivid pencils. So that is what I colored thus far in the month of August 2019. And I don't know how much I'll get done next month. I'm having major surgery in Boston on my throat. So that's going to be fun. But in the meantime, if you want to see a flip through of anything I've showed in this video, or have any other video suggestions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. And thanks for watching.